Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Big Babies Podcast. So I'm in the middle of a rebrand right now, and I gotta find the new intro because I'm learning that when you talk about serious things and serious topics, it's not always best to open it up with the F word. So for anybody who has any recommendations on how I can, have a better intro, something that's a bit more appealing, I don't know. Maybe some of my rapper friends give me a few bars. Maybe a cool producer give me a nice little intro beat so I can come in and get my dance and shimmy on. But until then, hey, it's the big baby. And I'm back. Nah, I mean, I'm still gonna keep it like there a little bit, Twan, but it's just not the MF. And I told you, it's the Big Baby rebrand, man. Just know we got stuff coming soon. But look, man, nah, it's not that. But anyways, look, this has been a wild last 10 days. We all know with what happened with George Floyd and the way that the nation has came out against police brutality, has came out against violence amongst Black people, and the conversation has gone more than just a conversation. It's gone more than just a few social media posts. It's really taken to the streets, man. And I really think that this time it's different. I truly do. It feels different. The responses are different. The protests have lasted longer. The riots seem to actually yield some results. So I say that to say, hey, keep fighting the good fight. We have to do that. And there's people who are like, oh man, all of a sudden now COVID is not a problem anymore. No, it's not that COVID isn't a problem. It's just less of a problem. But I'll tell you that COVID is part of the solution because COVID stopped us from living our day-to-day lives. COVID has many people distressed and out of work. COVID has a lot of people sitting at home right now with nothing to do but to consume media. All right. And we're not ripping and running around. And because of that, a lot of people who previously didn't have to care about these issues of police brutality against Black people, the murder of our people, they have to care now because they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have much else to see. We have flooded their timelines. We flooded their TV. We flooded the streets with people talking about this. And I think that this is a step in the right direction. I truly do. So this past weekend, I did go out to a couple of protests and I saw different things out there. I went to one protest that appeared to be a bit more organized. There was more of a mission there, and it raised awareness. If nothing, it raised awareness, and I think that's important. I also went to another one that was crowds a little bit younger, a bit more radical, and again, that did raise awareness, but you see some of the things that may make others uncomfortable, even those who are trying to fight the good fight and not minimize what's going on, a bit uncomfortable because it's like, hey, you're blaring your loud music for what? You're playing FDT. All right, I understand you feel that way, but for what? I mean, it gets to the point at some people were playing their music so loud that you can't even hear the speakers speaking, who are trying to, galvanize the crowd and speak on what we're doing here. And I think it's important to understand what we're out there for. Now, the people who really are against protests, they need to know, like, look, this works. It does work. We are seeing some results. But don't be blinded by some of the stuff we're seeing right now because it's popular. It's unpopular to not make a statement about this. It's unpopular to be on the other side of racial injustice towards people of color, specifically Black people in these instances. So do I think some of it's lip service? I do, because I'm a cynic. I have to be skeptical of these things, but it appears that we have momentum going in the right direction, and that's important. So continue fighting the good fight, because remember, this is a multi-front war that requires multiple responses in order for us to win. So for those of you who are out here protesting, we need you. For those of you who are out here working behind the scenes, we need you. For those of you who are out here posting on your social media, we need you. For the people of you having private conversations, trying to change the hearts and minds of other people, we need you. For those of you who disagree with what you see, for those of you who are against this movement, we need you too, because we need you to be exposed so that we can either educate you or we can eliminate you from power. And be careful out there, though, because understand that these curfews are an infringement on our First Amendment rights. Okay, we have a right to peacefully protest, but they're putting in these curfews to try to curtail that. So be mindful of that and speak your voice and understand the risk that you take. But for those of you who are going out here and supporting these protests, ensure that you know who you're protesting with and what you're protesting for, because the last thing you want to do is protest without a plan. But we'll get to that a little bit later. I think the support that we're getting from outside of our community is beautiful. It's great. It's coming from all over the world. It's wild that you would think that the entire world would be looking at this and supporting a group of people who haven't been supported by their own country. And I think that's amazing. But again, these protests mean nothing without new policies. These protests mean nothing without progress. We have to keep pushing, because if we're only posting and we're only holding signs and we're only hoping for charges and not convictions, what do we have? If we're not looking to change the hearts and minds of people, what do we truly have? We have to change the hearts and minds of people. And it starts with, you know what? Just not being a bad person. I feel like 80% of this would go away if people were just good people. All you got to do is be a good person. You don't have to be a bad person. Okay? And then the way we get to that 20%, it becomes more of less of being a bad person and starting to be a good person. Be someone who helps others. Be someone who can try to put yourself in another person's shoes and understand their plight, okay? And we have to remember that. And if we do that, if we just start being good people, I think that is a quick way to eradicate racism. But it starts at home. It starts with us being better people. And then once you clean up your house, then you have to clean up your community. And with that, it starts with putting pressure on local politicians to enact policies that are necessary. So when we're out here protesting, we have to have our points ready so that if somebody calls the leader of the group inside to have a conversation, we're ready to have that conversation with them so we're not caught with our hands behind our backs, okay? Because understand, the protest matters, but we don't get progress from the protest if we don't have policy, if we don't have a plan, okay? So understand the importance of these P's, because we have to have that in order to move forward. All right, and once we put that pressure on our local politicians, if we don't get the results that we need, then we have to get them out of office, and we have to elect politicians who will do that. Because just voting blindly or just saying get out there and vote without contextualizing what it is to vote is irresponsible for us, because we could be voting for two evils. So what we have to do in our community to start to train and groom our people who represent us to take office so that they can represent us at a higher level. Okay? And again, it's a multi-front war that we have to fight. So yes, we have to get people who can enact policy. We also have to have people who are educating our people, because education is important. And without education, we lose so much. And then we also have to have our entrepreneurs who have the capital to help build up our communities. We have to have those people as well so that they can fund programs that we care about so that they can put the funds behind the politicians that we pick from our communities to represent us. Okay? And then we also have to hold our media accountable, because the media can have such a strong influence over what we think and what we say. And I'm not a person who advocates for state-run media, because that's scary within itself. But the media also should not be a for-profit business, because when you are caring about the profit, you start caring about the eyes, the hits, the impressions that you get. So now you're no longer reporting news as it should be. You're reporting news in a way that gets people in an uproar so that they respond, so that they watch. Because understand, on our major news networks, our 24-hour news networks, most of the shows that people tune into, the primetime shows, are not news shows. They are opinion shows. And we have to understand the difference between news and opinion. All right? But not only do we have to impact our local government, we have to take it to the state. And we have to follow the same mode and method that we're using at the local level and apply it at the state. And then once we put that pressure and make our states better, hopefully we can ride that momentum into making our country a better place, and we develop a national plan to help our people. And another thing I want to point out here, in this fight, we have to understand that we are fighting against one common enemy. We are fighting against the elite. The elite run this country. They've ran it for years, and they've been able to pit many of us against one another, and we can't do that. Whether it was appointing poor whites as overseers, whether it's putting poor whites as police officers in Black communities, whether it's, the white kid being the quarterback, even though he's not the best. Little things like that, the way we've been pitted against each other by the powers that be, we have to fight that. And we have to understand that as people who are oppressed, we have to unite. We have to work together so that we can make our country great. That's how we make America great, is that we come together and we fight for our rights. But to Black people, we have to invest in ourselves. We have to invest in our communities. Every time we get a little piece of change, we can't run out to the suburbs. We have to stay in our communities and build our communities so that they reflect what we want to see. We have to buy back the block, like Rick Ross once said in the song. We really have to do that so that we own our communities. Because if we don't own our communities, we're going to continue living the struggle that we're living, where we are paying to be somewhere and people are taking that money and running across town and building up their communities, making better schools for their kids, providing better opportunities for their loved ones that we don't have. We have to get out of this state of survival, but it starts with better education, more money, and more ownership. It's crazy that I was listening to Ballot or Bullet this week, and so many of the lessons in that speech ring true today. So I keep asking the question, where do we go from here? Because I've talked about this rat wheel that we've been on, and we've stayed on this rat wheel for a very long time, and we must get off this rat wheel in order to see progress in our communities. And one way that we can see progress in our communities is fighting white audacity. We must fight white audacity. It's something bigger than white privilege, okay? It is taking white privilege, then trying to impose it upon everyone else. It is the people who say, you should protest like this, or I don't like that, you should feel this way. No. You don't tell me how I should feel. You don't tell me how I should act, because you don't know what I'm going through. You have not been in my shoes. Don't tell me what you would do, because it's not about you. You haven't been in this position. You have not been subject to systematic racism your entire life. You just don't feel the same things that we feel. So your context is sometimes wrong. But again, I want to open the conversation with you so that you can expose yourself, good or bad. I can let you know how I feel, and hopefully at the end of the conversation, we can find common ground and work towards a solution. So yeah, I saw what Drew Brees said, and it rubbed me the wrong way. And I had differing thoughts on how to respond to it. But for one, I think that, you know what, we should boycott Brees. We should blackball Brees. We should break ties with Brees. Because Colin Kaepernick is out of the league. He is blackballed for what? Trying to fight against police brutality and justice against black people in America. And now Drew Brees comes out and says it's about disrespecting the flag. That is will for ignorance, and that is the problem. Will for ignorance is an issue that we continuously fight day in and day out, and I think it is a result of white audacity. It is someone refusing to understand what you are saying. They are ignoring the message that is being put out, and that is not okay. Once the message is clarified, I understand he has a right to feel however he chooses to feel. He cannot like people kneeling for the flag, although he did it. He did do that. Okay? But if you understand the bigger picture, you should not get caught up on the means. You should be caring more about the end. And so often we see people try to liken other people's military experiences to this. Oh, I have family who fought for this country. Okay, I have family that fought for this country as well. I know people who are currently fighting for this country. And guess what? Their experiences are all different. And people who are elected officials, government officials, members of the DOD, members of local government, they don't define what the flag means to America. Americans define what the flag means to them because it is the symbol of the country. So whatever this country means to you, that's how you express the flag. And no American has any authority over another American of what the flag should mean. So if you disagree with the form of protest, here's what I challenge you to do. You speak with the protesters and find out what's going to make them stop protesting. If it bothers you that much, find out what's going to make them stop. Okay? And once you figure out what makes them stop, you do what you can so that they stop protesting, but they don't stop protesting because they're afraid of what's going to happen to them. They stop protesting because we no longer feel the need to protest. But we have to close the educational and economic gap in between the rich and the poor. We're fighting a race war, yes. We're fighting a poverty war, yes. We're fighting an educational war. We are fighting an information war because so oftentimes we get so much misinformation, or we willfully refuse to accept the facts that are in front of us. And that's not okay. So for this next segment, I want to take some time to talk about criminal justice reform, because one issue that I really think is important that we attack are the issues within the criminal justice system. All right, so here's a go. For one, when there is an unlawful killing, when there's an unlawful killing of anyone in this country, it should be a hate crime. Point blank, period. But especially when we see the constant police brutality, the constant killing, the modern day lynching of black people, unarmed black people, law-abiding black people, okay? We have to make that a hate crime. And for those of you who say, you said law-abiding black people, some of them broke laws, okay, but that does not give the officer the right to be the judge, jury, and executioner. Your job is to apprehend this person, confine this person, and give them the opportunity to see the judge and the jury. But laws have to change, and that comes with, we need more lawyers. We need more people working in politics. We need more people working in the streets. We need more cops. We need more sheriffs, and not just Just cops and sheriffs. We need sheriffs. We need police chiefs. We need police commissioners. We need people in power who have influence over policy. We need more mayors. We need more commissioners. We need more people on the city council. We need more people on the school board. Okay, we need more people in the budget office so that we can properly allocate funds to the communities that need them. We need more ownership in our community. All right, but let me get back on topic. The neighborhoods have to change. We have to have police who reflect the neighborhoods that they serve. You have to understand the people that you're policing in order to properly police them. You have to be able to put a name to the face. You have to be able to identify. You have to be able to empathize with the individuals that you are policing, because it should be less policing and more protecting and serving, less crime fighting and more protecting and serving the community. So if that means you have to protect the community from your own, then you must do that. The law enforcement has to be of the community. And if you're not from the community, if you don't reflect the community, if you can't relate to the community, there needs to be some community immersion. You need to go spend time with the people in the community, off duty, not in uniform. No, you need to be there in the capacity of a civilian so that they don't see you as an authority figure. They don't see you as a threat. They see you as a friend. They see you as a mentor. They see you as a brother or a sister in their community. So what does that mean? Coach Little League, coach rec sports, attend the games, be a mentor in the schools. Just be around. Just be a presence that people can know and see and relate to. Because I think about a police officer from my hometown who reflected the community in which he policed. And oftentimes he may come to a party and there may be a fight. And instead of trying to take everybody to jail, he breaks it up and tells everybody to go home because he understands, hey, kids being kids, no harm, no foul. And they don't deserve to have their lives ruined because of this. They don't deserve to become a part of the system. Because once you're in the system, you know there's that mark against you that's going to follow you for the rest of your life. And instead of hurting the community, he helped the community. And there has to be continuing education. It's not good enough just to go to the academy and get the basic education that you get from the academy. There has to be classroom education. Because as the world changes, actions from police officers have to change. There has to be psychological and mental health education, because we need to know the difference between someone who's aggressive or somebody who has a mental health issue. And we need to be able to police those people properly. There needs to be more physical training, because I think one of the problems is there are a lot of law enforcement individuals who are not physically capable of detaining a suspect because they're not in shape. They don't trust their hand-to-hand combat. That has to be an ongoing thing. No, we don't want to see people beat up. No, but you need to be able to detain someone. You need to be able to disarm someone safely. I received something. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the hashtag 8 can't wait. Here's 8 things that police officers should do. Ban chokeholds and strangleholds. Require de-escalation. Require warnings before shooting. Exhaust all alternatives before shooting. They have a duty to intervene, Ban shooting at moving vehicles. Establish use of force continuum and require all force to be reported. And just like in the military, anytime a weapon is shot, there should be an investigation. But these investigations can't be internal. They have to come from external agencies, people who don't have a dog in the fight, so that they actually hold people accountability. There has to be a level of accountability towards our brothers in blue. We have to attack the unions, because the unions are so strong that even when some try to enact action, they can't, because the union is so strong. We have to break down the strength of the union. And I'm not against unions, no, but I'm against unions that take up for bad people. If the union is so strong that we can't get rid of people who don't deserve to carry a badge, or wear a badge or carry a gun, that is a problem within itself. There is a culture that needs to be changed. And one of the best things I heard about this whole police issue is everybody tries to say it's only a few bad apples. Maybe so. But when those few bad apples are killing people, you might want to destroy the orchard. Okay? If the apples are killing, if you went to an apple orchard, just think about it. You're in the apple business, right? And somebody says, yeah, we got a few bad apples out here. You go, what? They got some worms or stuff like that? Nah, not necessarily worms. They'll kill you if you eat them. What? Excuse me? And there's no way to identify which one is good or bad until it's already too late. So for those of you who just want to say there's a few bad apples, you're absolutely right. But when those bad apples are killers and we can't identify from physically looking at the difference between a killer and a cop, then we have to uproot the system. We have to change the culture because it is a widespread problem and it's bigger than race. But one of the issues is as crime decreases, funding decreases. And when funding decreases, you don't always have the opportunities to train and pay and hire those who deserve it. So we have to get out of this justice enterprise. Okay, crime should not pay. Crime should not literally pay. Precincts, counties, states should not get more money because they have more crime. Maybe there should be rewards for less crime. We should not be able to invest in private prisons. Private prisons should not be an industry at all in this country. I should not be able to get rich off people going to prison. I should not be able to get rich off people going to jail. I should not be able to get rich because somebody can look for a crime, a harmless crime, lock somebody into a system, and then I get money because of that. We have to de-incentivize crime. And one of the ways I think we fight this justice enterprise is reverse gentrification. Okay, y'all want to, the white people are trying to come into our hoods, come into our neighborhoods and take it and raise the value. We have to own our own neighborhoods. And when we have the ability to maybe elevate to a better neighborhood, instead of leaving, we build up where we're at. And we try to make it reflect what we want to see. We create programs in our neighborhood so we can transition from surviving to thriving. We have to own. We have to own our houses. We have to own our businesses so that we can keep the money in our communities. We have to combat gerrymandering. If you want to gerrymander us to take our power away, we have to get that power back. And how do we get that power back? We unite. We stay together. We build up our neighborhoods. We have to. We get involved in politics so that when those decisions are being made to gerrymander our different districts, we say no. Or if you're going to redraw that map, you redraw that map so that we have power, so that we have strength, so that we can represent ourselves and have a fair seat at the table. But we have to move back. We all can't flee to the suburbs because we think life is going to be better out there. Because what we do is we weaken the plight of our people. So these are just a few ideas that I have, but I'm going to continue working to try to make life better for people like me and people like you. And also remember, we're going to black out the 4th this year. We're going to celebrate Juneteenth. But we're not just going to celebrate. We're not going to just talk about the shackles that we were in. We're not just going to sing spirituals. We're not just going to read the Emancipation Proclamation. No, we're going to talk about Black enterprise. We're going to talk about Black wealth. We're going to talk about Black beauty. We're going to talk about Black business. We're going to talk about the issues in our community and come up with solutions for those issues. So I challenge everyone, go back to your communities, find out what's going on for Juneteenth, It falls on a Friday this year. The 19th is on a Friday. So aim to do something on that Saturday, June 20th. Figure out what you can do to raise awareness within our community and outside of our community about our strong, rich heritage. And we have to take that momentum and move it forward so that we can progress, so we stop just surviving and we start thriving. Big baby, yeah.